Hey Kyle, one of the reasons when I first contacted you is I was really interested in your business here at Flat Fours, located in Tweed Heads in Arimba Road.
Yep.
And I noticed that you guys actually import cars,
Yes.
yeah, JDM cars,
Yep.
directly from Japan
Yep.
into New South Wales, on the border of New South Wales and Queensland. You can cover both.
Yeah, yep.
I've already had some GC8s in the past. I've got right now the Evo 2 Club Spec.
Yep.
I've also had a two-door STi from many, many years ago. And I'm now thinking that I want to also import something.
toy.
And of course, the reason why people can import is something to do with the years. Is that right? How does that work?
Yeah, so we went through a change in Australia probably about 18 months ago now that after many years of lobbying from businesses like ourselves and the workshops, they agreed to let in a lot more of the Subaru models. Typically before that, there was only one or two other Subaru models that you could bring into Australia. The reason why they did that was the Subaru Australia sort of had the hold on the market here and they didn't want any imports coming in.
Right, so they lobbied government to stop that, or is it just a sort of blanket rule?
Yeah, so they did. They sort of worked with the government to keep these
The weapons coming
laws in place. Yeah, it's just to sort of protect their market here. So the government finally gave in, and we got the SEVs list, which stands for Specialist Enthusiast Vehicles. So they did a big overhaul of that, and we could apply for all these new models now. So there is a huge list now of Subarus that we can import, and they're all the good models that we never got. The way we got around that was with different variants of each model. So one of our most popular cars that we import is the Cross Sport Forester, which features the 205 engine as opposed to the 2.5 that was delivered here in Australia. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the ways we got around it.
And why is that Forester popular? Is it because it's of its price point as well, and it comes with like some goodies attached to it?
It's an affordable turbo car that's practical and got room for
like a family,
for the family,
the dogs.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the customers that do buy these cars are growing families. They want a bit more room, but they don't want to really let go of the fun while driving.
Yeah.
So
I think for me, because I'm now 42, those cars like the version 3 two-door.
Yeah,
were splashed through Fast Fours and Hot Force magazines back in the day, right? Mm-hmm. In the sort of the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And they were sort of like the dream car that everyone wanted.
Yep.
And then, of course, Subaru Australia released the 99 model in a two-door.
Yep, the version 5.
Version 5.
Yeah, so I think the World Rally Championship really had a big influence on Subaru. I mean, they were sort of on the map before that, but yeah, the rally efforts from Subaru, really launched them as a sort of a fun staple turbo JDM car that the everyday guy could get.
Yeah. But what's interesting now though is because those early cars, that like the version 3, etc., you can now import those cars.
Yeah.
And for someone like me and a lot of other guys who are now sort of in their early 40s, maybe 50s,
Yep.
they're now thinking, hang on a second, I've got some splish splash now. Maybe the kids are out of home, or they're growing up, or they're just the business is doing well, right? By the time they're at the 40s, they've got some equity in their house. The property markets are going quite well in Australia.
Yeah, so
but they've got some equity, so now they've got some cash to go and buy these cars.
Yep.
Now, tell me about. Let's just say I want to buy an import. Let's say it's what would I really love? I'd love a two-door.
Yep.
Let's say it's a version 6.
Yep.
Yeah, how would I go about doing that? I give you a call and then what happens?
Yeah, so the first thing is, give us a call. Let us know what model you're chasing, what sort of look you're going for. We'll let you know whether it's eligible or not. So the general rule of thumb with that is if it was supplied to the Australian market in full volume, you can't import it.
Right, so let's talk about that model then. In Australia, we received the version 6 four-door.
Yep.
So therefore, the version 6 two-door is eligible?
Yep, and vice versa for the version 5. We got the two-door.
You can import now version 5 four-door?
Four-door, yep.
Okay. And is there any specifications or limitations on perhaps whether it's an RA or a Type R or a something?
Oh, for the version 5, sorry. For the four-doors, the RAs and stuff are eligible as well. Mm-hmm. As well as the wagons as well.
Yeah.
So we never got the wagons at all. So the version 5 and 6 wagons.
Okay. Now let's say I know that in Australia right now the version 5 two-door are all fetching sort of 6 figures Aussie dollars, right? So 100 Aussie dollars, so roughly 70 odd grand US.
Yep.
If I want to import one of those cars, whether it's the 6 or the 5.
Yep.
what sort of money would I expect to pay landed in Australia?
It depends on the grade and the Ks. But if you're sort of fetching for that collectible car, or the one under 100,000 Ks or 150,000, you'd sort of expect to pay local market prices for them.
Okay.
I mean, you might save 10 or 20 grand. It's changing ever so rapidly.
So basically, so it's going to be roughly the same cost.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a little bit cheaper for some of maybe the version 4 or 5s, but version 6 was sort of the holy grail. It was the final of the GC8s, so anything version 6 or 5 is going to still be fetching up around the 70,000.
You were saying earlier too that our friends in the US and possibly even the UK are seizing up these cars in Japan as well. So there's competition, right?
The general gist I get from my guys in Japan is that the Australians are driving the price quite high at the moment for the Subarus. I'd say we've got probably the biggest influence at the moment for the models that have been approved to be imported. But for the earlier model ones, the US and the UK are really pumping those prices up.
Okay.
So US has got the 25-year rolling rule, so anything 25 years older, they can import.
Yep.
Their dollar's stronger than ours and a bit more of a better economy. So
yeah. So let's just say I've now chosen the version 6 two-door. I've said, Kyle, that's the one that I want.
Yep.
And you then give me a rough idea of pricing. Is that right?
Yeah. So I mean, we can never
quote
quote an accurate price of what a vehicle's going to cost landed, because something that might cost 50 grand one week will cost 60 the next. So you sort of let us know what you're looking for and the budget, and we'll go and hunt some auction vehicles for you. Generally speaking, auction vehicles are cheaper than dealership vehicles over there.
Right. I actually thought that all the vehicles were from auctions.
No, there's still, so the dealership market in Japan is still, it's a big business.
Right. Because they've realised we all want them, right?
Yeah, and like they'll capitalise on that. So you'll find dealerships will have all manner of JDM cars. They won't have your stock standard vans and whatnot, but they'll have GTRs, Subarus, RX-7, Supras, everything. So we'll hunt around, we'll find a few options, we'll send them your way.
So let me get this right, you're going online,
Yep.
You're hunting for the version 6 two-door for me.
Yep.
You come back to me at some point and say, Matt, I've got a
We'll
black
send you
one,
some
a white
options,
one,
yeah.
This one's got 50,000 Ks, this
Yep.
one's modified, and this is the rough guide.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
I then say, yep, I want the white with the gold rims.
Yep.
It's got 50,000 Ks, I want that one, Kyle.
Yep.
Do I then pay you a deposit?
Yes, so the way it works is the purchase price of the vehicle obviously needs to be paid up front. The auctions over in Japan are just so rapid. It's a well-organised machine, so payments made within 24 hours. We pay the auction house for that.
So you pay it first and then you bill me?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So generally speaking, on cars under $25,000, that's the way it works. If the purchase price is more than that, we'll ask that the funds are available to us on your behalf to pay for the vehicle. So,
right, so I'm giving you the funds, you then pay.
So 25 grand. I mean, we're happy to take that burden.
But
anything more than that, it's a huge financial commitment. So we need to have the funds available for us to pay our.
So I'm now giving you the money now.
Yep.
Of course, I think a lot of guys who want to import these cars, they're scared about the shipping. Is it going to go in a container? Who do I call for that?
Yep.
The compliance when it gets to this country, what has to be done?
Yep.
So how does that then work?
Yeah, so the way it works is you pay the auctioneer's fee, which is an FOB, what they call an FOB charge. Freight on board. So it'll be transported to the appropriate port, have all your paperwork filled out.
And when we say paperwork, you're doing all the paperwork for me, right?
The guys in Japan do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so they fill it out, they book it on the boat, and they send us that. While that's happening, we work on the import approval. The system's just changed in Australia, so we're getting up to speed with that.
Okay.
So that's a whole new process, but so we organise the import approval. It'll sit on a ship, generally speaking, 4 to 6 weeks at the moment.
Okay.
Get to the port of Brisbane, that's when we pay our import duty and the freight charges.
Which you're now going to send me another bill,
Yeah,
right?
so that'll be an
I'm
invoice.
Going to pay that?
Yep. So that's payable when the invoice comes through. And then, so we are experiencing delays at the ports at the moment with quarantining and stuff.
So we're recording this in July of 2021.
Yep.
Okay, so right now we're experiencing some delays.
Yep.
Yeah. Probably because of COVID, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I know there's some issues regarding shipping and things like that. So
Suez Canal.
that poses a problem. They're all trapped in there.
Yeah, yep.
So the car's landed. We're now waiting. Let's say up to 6 to 8 weeks. Let's say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in that time, then is that just for it to be released from the port?
Yeah. So there was an issue with the cars not being pre-quarantined in Japan. They got overwhelmed with the amount of vehicles and they just stopped pre-quarantining cars, which then left the responsibility to the Australian ports.
Right.
They weren't ready for that.
Why are they quarantining a car for?
All manner of reasons. Obviously, a vehicle can trap a heap of dirt, seeds, organic matter.
And then do they
check
do it clean or something?
Yes, they check for timber, asbestos, that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Japan has also got a really nasty little stink bug, and there's a certain season that comes around where they have to fumigate everything that comes out of there. So apparently the stink bugs, really detrimental to agriculture.
Here, they then basically spray it, clean it.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So once that process is finished,
Yep.
they're going to then transport the car from the dock to your yard
us.
here?
Yep.
Yeah.
So once it's here, with the approval of the buyer, we'll run over the car. We'll already have a pretty good idea of what it's going to be like from the inspections we get done before you purchase it.
That's a good question.
Yep.
Are the reports in Japan pretty on spot to what you receive here in Australia?
So you don't take the auction grading for a grain of salt.
Okay.
Yeah. The only way to know what a vehicle is like is to get our guys on the ground to go and look at it.
And
So
you've got guys on the ground in Japan?
Yes, we do. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So whether you go through us or another importer, that's why you pay the premium sometimes for imported vehicles through someone like us, is because you're not getting shafted.
Yeah.
There is a lot of companies out there that will go and buy you a car that's potentially been through the tsunami, that's been written off 3 or 4 times, it's been repaired. So
Yeah.
you
I
always
think that's a good point though, Kyle, because I think if your company's importing these cars into Australia, you're not just wanting to import 5 and then flick them, right? Because
Yeah.
you're hoping that, like in my case, I want to import a car, then I'm going to say, Kyle, now I want you to do some modifications.
Yeah, we
to
want
it,
the
right?
customers back here. We want to see the progression from their freshly imported vehicle to their end dream goal. Whether that might be just a basic mod, or whether it might be a complete build or a re-overhaul of the car. You never know.
Yeah.
So we want to see these guys back and make sure they can enjoy this car for as long as they have.
And reputation's everything, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
you want to continue to import more cars and
Yep.
feel confident.
Yep.
Now, let's come to the big drum roll, because I remember when I asked you on the phone that day, and I
Yep.
said, mate, you're doing all this work for me. What is your fee going to be
Yep.
to do all the paperwork and get it from Japan right to here in Australia?
Yep.
And fully complied, let's say. You do all that paperwork as well. So
Yep.
what are you charging for that?
So our fees for a vehicle under $25,000 purchase price is only $1,500. So that
I cannot believe that.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable value.
So that's just a brokerage sort of deal. We'll arrange to have the vehicle transported here. We'll have a look under it, take some photos, maybe recommend anything that needs doing to it. But we don't turn any spanners on it. The vehicle is as it comes from Japan.
Right.
From there, we can then do whatever you want to the vehicle, whether that be a complete service, upgrade brakes and pads, whatever.
Yeah.
For vehicles over that 25,000, there is a percentage that we agree on. It's a case by case sort of deal.
Yeah.
So,
Even if it's like $2 or $3 grand, $4 grand even, I think that's...
I mean, so cars that are, like you said before, someone that's maybe retired and they're looking for that dream car they're going to hold on to, they're not readily available. So we have to spend a lot of time searching, inspecting, sending our guys out to look at them.
Because the first thing too is you bring up a car, your guys now take the time to go out and inspect it.
Yeah.
It may not be the one.
Yeah, it may not be the one.
So that someone's got to pay for that time, right?
Yeah. So anything over $25,000 is sort of agreed upon before we start looking. Do you have the funds available to purchase that car? And then you need to understand that there is time.
But this is the point, I think, too, is that for someone who's in their 40s or 50s, like myself, who's got doing well in business and they've got the money to now go and buy these import cars, they want to find someone who's reputable like yourself to just take care of it. Because they're busy running their life, their business, their family.
It can be a headache sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
And there's a language barrier there. There's also ongoing hurdles like COVID and a quarantining issue. So compliance, and then as well as the changing legislation and laws in Australia around import vehicles. So
I just think if anyone out there is wanting to import a vehicle from Japan, and a good one at that, contact Kyle at Flat Fours.
hit us up.
Hit us up, or put his details in the description, and get something cool into Australia, just like what I want to do, Kyle.
Yeah, nice GC8.
Yeah, awesome.
Awesome.